Makes a man like Ringo, Doc. Makes him do the things he does.
A man like Ringo got a great empty hole right through the middle of him. He can never kill enough or steal enough or inflict enough pain to ever fill it.
What does he need?
Revenge.
For what?
Being born.
This is HBR News number 364. Boris smashes toxic masculinity. Dance instructor seduces underage student. Thanks, Allison. Mine was a lot edgier. Where we reflect on the stories of the week and give it the Badger treatment. All right, hello everyone. Is this MAGA month? Happy MAGA month if you celebrate that. And welcome to Honey Badger Radio. I hope you guys are doing well this week and that you are laughing at all of this absurdity so that you are not consumed by it. I am your host, Brian Martinez, and I'm joined by, as always, Hannah Wallet and Dr. Random Camp. Mike J partied hard on the 4th yesterday. He may not be here at all, but we hope that he's okay wherever it is he ends up waking up.
He grilled too much. Sometimes you just grill too much.
Yeah, sometimes you just over grill. And speaking of the 4th of July, I know it's the day after, but happy Independence Day to anyone who cares.
Happy Treason Day, all you heathens.
It's only treason if you lose. But I say that this also applies to people who aren't Americans that appreciate, the concept of independence and fight against tyranny, which we may all have to do sometime very soon. In addition, though, I don't want to miss this because I don't know if this is true or not. Facebook told me so it must be happy birthday, Hannah.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, so
this year I am 29 years past my expiration date. The one that was given as a little kid. So you have to do the math. I wasn't supposed to make it to 21.
So there you go. It's Hannah's birthday. So, wish each other a happy 4th, a happy Independence Day, and a happy birthday to Hannah, who is...
I was 5 years old before I figured out that the fireworks were not for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
didn't really change anything. I still enjoyed them a lot.
It's interesting to have your birthday fall really close to or even on a holiday. Like,
no.
You got the 4th of July, which is pretty great because it means you do get fireworks like every year on your birthday or close to it. I got Labor Day.
Well, that's not too bad either. Like, there's certain birthdays close to of people close to me that like you grow up and you get, oh yeah, this is for your birthday and Christmas, which I think is not fair.
My birthday's fallen on Easter like twice, but that doesn't count because that's a floating date. And people still give you presents because they're not just going to give you a chocolate egg for a present that you'll
for your birthday. Yeah.
So no, that's just
better be a damn big egg.
But Easter, then that means it kind of lets you double dip because you can get like some candy because it's Easter, but still get a present because candy isn't quite. It doesn't compensate. Right. It's not like being born on Christmas where people are like, we're not giving you double the presents, right?
And also you get candy and cake because you got to have cake for your birthday.
Yeah, candy and cake. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. All right, well, anyway, so with that out of the way, I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget to wish Hannah a happy birthday. We have a great show lined up for you guys today, so please be sure to continue the conversations both in the chat as well as the comment section. On this week's HBR News Show, we're going to be talking about a recent comment made by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, where he identifies the true cause of all of this turmoil involving Russia and Ukraine conflict, and the answer might surprise you. It might, because it lives in you, everyone, all of you men. This lives in you, so only we can stop it. A female dance instructor apparently repeatedly abused an underage girl, one of her students, R. Kelly gets his sentence for his sex trafficking case and more, so stick around. It's going to be a good time. And be sure to join us afterwards for the patron-only show. So I found this trailer for a movie, so I thought we'd look at a movie trailer in the after show. And it is everything wrong with entertainment in one package. So it's super cringe, guys. It's called.
Oh wait, that's a ginger woman.
Boy.
Is that an actual ginger woman?
It is a ginger woman.
With a black woman?
Yeah, it's a ginger woman that hasn't been replaced with a black woman. It's called The Princess. And can you guess? Can you guess what it's about? Look, I like that I'm leaving up these reviews. Well, it is about a princess, yes. But in what way is it different? Like in what way is it different, but also way too much the same? Like, so
I guess that the princess is the hero in this. She looks like she's a fighting princess.
Yes. Yes.
Of course. Okay.
It's about a princess that don't need no man to rescue her. So,
right.
And she fights bad guys, and they're all men, and she's literally like smashing the patriarchy in this movie. And so, and look, audiences not thrilled, not even the critics, because and that's crazy because the critics almost always eat up whatever they're told, and they basically tell people to go watch it. So it is well, I saw the trailer once. We'll watch it in the patron show. And I want anyone to help me understand how this fighting princess that don't need no man to rescue her has not become its own like cliched trope that is actually really, really boring and not enough to build, an actual like story on. It also involves what was that band? And of course it did. It's that Bad Reputation song. Do you know the band? Is it Joan Jett? Is that who it is?
Oh gosh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're gonna ruin that song. That's just great.
That song. Well, it's fine for what it is. It does get overused in a lot of trailers, in particular when they're about women, fighting against sexism. So yeah, we'll take a look at this in the patron only show, and maybe we'll read some of the reviews. I have the trailer up. So that we can look at it and just so in case you don't know, like how I knew what this was going to be about, I learned that this is a Fox production, which is airing, I think on Hulu, which is owned by Disney. So where this is going, like right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
Hulu is basically where Disney puts their edgier content. So because they can't put it on Disney Plus because, it's got a violence and some language and adult references, which, by the way, the line between Disney Plus and Hulu is starting to become more and more blurry anyway in that regard.
But it'd be more helpful if we just narrowed down what wasn't owned by Disney. Disney is like the Coca-Cola of entertainment at this point. They own more than they don't own. Yeah.
So they do own Hulu. It was always their platform, but you're right. That's probably a better way to do it. And it's a Fox Hulu feminist production. So we're going to look at that in the patron only show. And if you want to join us for that, you have to become a badger yourself by going to feedthebadger.com, setting up a monthly subscription. $5 will get you into the Discord where you'll be able to participate in all of the additional content, such as this viewing of the patron show. And if you don't want to wake up one morning to find that we have been yeeted from the internet, go to badgerfeed.com or honeybadgerradio.com so that you can basically see all of our content, because until we don't have the money to keep doing this, we're going to keep doing this. So it doesn't matter if you don't see us on YouTube, find us at feedthebadger.com or honeybadgerradio.com, or just go to Rumble. And Rumble is our HB radio on Rumble. So,
all right, go to Rumble now. Don't wait until we switch. Go there now.
Go to Rumble right now. Yes, because we're going to do the first story and then we're going to switch and stay on Rumble for the rest. Okay. All right. So let's get into the first story. We're going to be talking about Boris Johnson. It's a short one, but I think it needs to be brought up. So, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson told a German broadcaster that if Putin were a woman, he would not have embarked on war. And I know this is a really stupid thing to say, but we're going to quote him anyway. Mike, can you do a Boris Johnson impression? I know he's got a specific way of talking, so...
I can try. If Putin was a woman, which he obviously isn't, but you have to act like you got something, like eating a banana or something. I really don't think he would have embarked on a crazy macho war of invasion and violence in the way that he has. Johnson told German broadcaster ZDF on Tuesday. Do you want to carry on?
So Putin's Johnson told German broadcaster ZDF on Tuesday evening, Putin's invasion of Ukraine is a perfect example of toxic masculinity, he said, calling for better education for girls around the world and for more women in positions of power. End quote.
Should I go first?
Yeah, I think you
should.
So yeah, go ahead.
All right. Given that whataboutism is apparently a thing at this point, and even though I'm on record explaining that it's the most pathetic, childish attempt at a rebuttal anyone's ever come up with, if whataboutism is to be thrown around as a logical fallacy, then perhaps what-ifery should be pinned to the fridge right next to it. What's that? You were sexually assaulted by your uncle? Well, what if your uncle was your auntie? Then she wouldn't have bollocks, Boris. You're not helping. Like what if Stalin wasn't a communist? Yes, that would be fantastic. But he was very much a communist. He was all about enforcing equity at the barrel of a gun. It was all about demonizing whatever worked in the past and any demographic associated with it working in the past, and replacing it with contrarian bullshit that some social pseudoscientists came up with and called progress, all for its own sake, in a closed circle jerk of self-congratulations. And that, Boris, is what we need to avoid in the future. Do you see what I'm driving at? I'm talking about something that I'm going to go ahead and call toxic governance.
Mm-hmm.
If Russia had a much smaller government with less power, then it wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. If the US had a much smaller government, it might not have invaded Iraq. If the UK had a much smaller government, it wouldn't have the power to coerce everyone into getting injected with snake repellent. And then when they get bitten by a snake the very next day, you go, well, what if you hadn't taken the snake repellent? You would have been bitten by 2 snakes. And also, the UK government's invaded 1 or 2 countries in the past, perhaps. But I'm trying to think of a recent example.
Yeah.
Maybe the problem is that when a state government gets too big for its boots, it gets out of control, and we end up with toxic governance. For instance, when unlimited power and control is given to people based on what they have between their legs, whether that thing is grown biologically or just haphazardly sutured into place by some deluded quack on a government payroll. What is a woman, Boris? Has any controversial journalist faced you with that baffling conundrum of a question lately? And if you can't answer it, then what the ruddy fuck are you even talking about? And if you do have the backbone to say, a woman is an adult human female, and that's what we need in office. And all right, here's a headline for you. Boris Johnson endorses Marine Le Pen for president of France. Would that be accurate, my right honourable friend? Would you like to go on the record as having concluded that nationalist candidate Marine Le Pen is the best person for the job? Because it certainly follows necessarily from what you've said there. And that might actually work. Because Marine Le Pen would actually be held accountable for her actions as an individual, not shielded behind a cotton candy force field of knee-jerk name-calling. No one's going to be called a misogynist for the shit they say about Marine Le Pen, just like nobody was called a misogynist for the shit they said about Margaret Thatcher. And ironically, if we had a Labour government in 1982, then the Falkland Islands would probably belong to Argentina right now. You'd better hope that the Labour Party continues their unbroken streak of never having a female leader, Boris. Because if they ever do, you've already told the British public to vote for them, you utter spastic. Like, I know what you're doing. You want women in office because in this political climate of ours, criticizing women is forbidden. So with women in power, you'll think you'll be able to do whatever you want and arrest anyone who doesn't like it. But please realize you could replace everyone in the Conservative cabinet with hand-picked women, and you would still get mocked and abused and lied about by the rabid Marxist fuckknuckles at the BBC and The Guardian, to whom you are trying to pander, because you will still be the Conservative Party. These people want communism, Boris. Mm-hmm. They only pretend to want women because that's the easiest way to trick everyone into adopting communism. They would rather vote for an absolute sausage party of communists than vote for any amount of strong, independent women who are not communists. They hate you. They hate Britain. They hate everything that made Britain great. They even hate women because women are part of the old world order. They want a world of indistinguishable NPC humanoids, and if you keep simping for them, they are going to get it. Stop it, Boris. Just stop it. Get some help. Sorry, this was supposed to be the funny story. It's supposed to be the lighthearted.
Oh no, it's okay. No, I think this is still rage-inducing. I like that. You know, when you did the impression, I thought he sounds like what I always thought Mr. Toad sounded like. I don't know why, but I just thought, like, if there was a toad.
He looks like what Mr. Toad looks like.
Yeah, right, like a Mr. Toad in a three-piece suit, you know, like sitting on his chair, smoking a pipe, would sound like that. That's what I think, so.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's kind of a pleasant image, a toad bragging about his adventures in the Dark Continent or something.
Oh, that's funny. Honestly, I could echo everything that Mike said. The biggest problem I have with this idea, obviously, is that you're singling somebody out by gender and saying they should be leaders because of their gender, which is stupid. And it's, in and of itself, it's a what-ifism, because nobody would say that about men today. It would be taken as very politically incorrect, but there you are saying it about women, right? And that's kind of disgusting. It's not because they're better leaders. It's because it's politically correct to say it about women. So if a woman gets elected, did she get in on her merits? Or did she slide in on, you know, the fact that she has no balls?
Well, I mean, and then I think that's how Kamala did it.
Right? And the worst part of her being in there is you start criticizing her, and the side that she's on, their whole excuse for not listening to the criticisms will be, you're just a misogynist for criticizing this woman. Every woman in office has that built in right now. And we really, you know, I would say this about any country. Here in the United States, we're not ready for a female president yet. Nope. And I just can't imagine, you know, more women in power in a time period where you cannot say that woman was wrong.
I think you might be ready for a Republican female president. Like I said, we were ready. We were ready for a conservative female politician here 40 years ago.
We will be ready.
It very much seems to be a left-wing thing to just excuse the woman that left-wingers have put in charge for anything.
We will be ready when we have a candidate that responds when people on her side of the political fence inevitably answer, like, legitimate or illegitimate, just answer criticisms with, that's misogynistic, by saying, don't do that. Argue on the merits, because I can win on the merits. So don't make my femininity an issue. That's when we'll be ready. We'll have when we have a candidate that does that. If we don't have a candidate that does that, we don't have a candidate that's worthy of the office as a female.
Yeah.
And we haven't had anybody run and do that from either of the two big parties.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen like a lot of Republican women running for the presidency, but I have seen women run for vice presidency on the Republican side. And like, was it what's her name? Palin? Sarah Palin?
Sarah Palin. Now, Barbara
didn't...
Bush ran for the nomination, and I think she didn't make the nomination. But I don't think we've had one that has come out and overtly rejected calling people a misogynist if they criticize her. You know, Hillary Clinton kind of pretended to, but she didn't stick with it. Like when people criticized her and her followers and, you know, supporters called them a misogynist for it, she didn't come back and say, "Hey, I said seriously, I don't want you to do this." She just put up with it. She let it go. So
yeah, well, I guess like from what I've seen, I overall agree with Hannah that, you know, the only way we're gonna be ready is if a woman runs that won't use her gender as a shield. And I think that too many women in politics are ready to do it because there's too much permissiveness to allow it from whatever side thinks they're going to benefit. But I mean, I think it's obvious to me that it's way more weaponized on the left because that's where the feminists are. And the problem when it happens from the Republican side is that some of those women try to claim that they're, you know, really doing feminism or doing it right or something like that. But at the end of the day, they're all just trying to pander to the female vote because they know that the female vote is extremely powerful, which basically undermines the entire patriarchal like argument completely because it's women who vote people into power. And it just so happens, at least I think, that women are more likely to vote Democrat anyway because they vote in their own self-interest. They don't vote in the interest of, you know, what's best for the country as a whole or what's best for the people, you know, that are part of the working class or whatever it is, right? They generally vote for the things that they want, and that all you got to do is appeal to that. So the Republicans can't really do that. I mean, some of them do, but I think in general they can't because it doesn't line up with their principles. They're going to lose the votes from everyone else. So it's tricky, but yeah, I mean, like this Boris thing, he's just pandering. I mean, that's all it is. Like no one, it doesn't make any sense. I know that people will mention that, you know, there have been female rulers and leaders in history who have started wars. Catherine the Great, you know, comes to mind. And we all know that's true, but that doesn't matter, right? Like we could bring those things up, but it doesn't really matter because what Boris said probably resonated with women. And it definitely resonated with feminists who love to hear that shit. It's like, you know, he's basically like, it's like that meme where you have the woman and she's like, "Okay, honey, it's time for you to proselytize yourself as a man in front of me for the media and to promote women." And he's just like, "Yes, honey." And he just goes on TV and he says, you know, basically women are better than men and we wouldn't be at war if it weren't for that. And it's like, we all know it's stupid and ridiculous, but there are plenty of women that want to hear it, even though they know it's a lie, you know? Yeah. So, and he's just saying what I think, you know, women want to hear. And sadly, they respond to it. So he's just going to do it again. I mean, like this happens everywhere. And it comes down to the same thing. Like we constantly celebrate and pedestalize women for simply existing. And we do it to the detriment of men. We basically throw men under the bus because it's the only way you can measure a woman's worth is by tearing men down. And then we essentially like ask them to do us a big favor and vote for us, you know, or vote for them or whoever the person is. in order to give them more power and authority. And, you know, that it's pathetic. It's just pathetic, you know? So, and of course, women, they go along with it. This is like the big trick, you know. This is of the things that I see when I watch the political conversations going on or whatever. I see a lot of like times that, you know, conservatives and right wingers, they try to like find another way to appeal to women, you know, because they also want their support, and it never involves calling them out. Because they know that if you just call them out and you say, you know, like with this whole Roe v. Wade thing, if you just call them out and say, hey, you know, how about keeping your legs closed for a while, and maybe you don't just fuck the first guy that comes along that you think is alpha and then have a baby with her. How about that? Well, they'll flip out. Like everybody will lose their minds. The guy will be disavowed. They'll call his job. He'll get canceled. Like, you know, so you can't do it. You can't just be like, ladies, grow up. Like, that's all
even
I'm asking.
Even a woman can't do that.
No, even a woman can't do it.
You can't even call out another woman's behavior. And even among people who consider themselves a little more aware of female hypoagency and you know, gynocentrism and stuff, there will be people who, the minute you call out a woman's behavior, will jump to her defense, especially if they feel like she's even a little bit on their side on one issue. They'll jump to her defense because they're afraid she's going to leave. Well, I gotta tell you, if you're afraid she's going to leave, she's not really on your side.
Right. Just let him go.
She's using you for popularity.
Yeah. And, you know, I just think that like the truth should not be, concealed in this way in order to like not offend women in particular. And this is why there's so many people who find so much weakness in, you know, the right-wing parties. And this goes for even libertarians are guilty of this. They're trying to find ways to make libertarianism appealing to women. And I'm like, guys, it's not appealing to women. It just isn't. Like, some women, yes, some women, the people on this show, you know, are probably more libertarian leaning, but women in general, no, I'm sorry, but libertarianism is anathema to women. So you're not, and if you compromise what you believe because you want more women to vote, you're going to lose what you had, because you're basically like, you know, changing your belief system or your principles in order to accommodate women. But the fact is, you have to provide them what they want is security, not liberty. So you have to like work that out.
It's actually one of the reasons why having more female leaders would not make less wars. Women are more authoritarian. They're more collectivist in general. Most women will not get along with a woman who is individualist. They won't get along with a woman who is libertarian. They won't get along with a woman who says, you know, social services are actually very damaging to most people. You know, like you do that, and they're like, but that's my safety net. They have no idea how dangerous safety nets are. And most women, if you try to explain any of that, will get offended, because it's basically telling them that they don't deserve to feel safe, and that feeling safe doesn't make them safe. And that just is a horrible idea to them. So most women will encourage anything that their government does to control the rest of the world, including sending young men to war, even their own sons, to secure at least the image of peace between nations.
Yeah.
If we continue with this gynocentrism, and we continue to nevertheless blame men for everything that this gynocentrism is doing, then we're gonna enter the Mad Max future. And if we still continue with the gynocentrism and the blaming men for everything the gynocentrism does, we're going to sink back into the Bronze Age. And if we continue with the gynocentrism and blaming everything for gynocentrism, we're going to sink into the Stone Age and then back into the Pleistocene until we can, as a whole, acknowledge that that all of this regression has happened because of gynocentrism and misandry. It's never going to get better. It's going to keep getting worse until you can isolate the head vampire and fucking kill it. Figuratively, in Minecraft, FBI's asshole.
All right. Well, anyway, I think that we should go on to the next story from here. But have you guys heard when Boris Johnson said that? What are your thoughts on that? I would like to know. So I'm going to read your super chats, and then we're going to move on to Rumble to do the rest. So please, start migrating if you can. Senior Sticks gives us $2 and says the monarchy is the patriarchy, Brian. Even if it's the monarch is a queen. Sounds like you're ignoring females in power or something. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Let me just double check. Oh, I think I have a super chow as well. So I guess I'll take a look at that before we move on. So yeah, we got some. Jonathan Doman gives us $20. Thank you, Jonathan. And he says, Happy MAGA Pride Month. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Although I would say that pride is a sin. I don't think we should indulge in that. And then Anonymous gave us $6.90 and says, can Karen and Allison give any advice or tips on... Oh, wait. I think this may have already been responded to and Allison didn't add a done. So I'm going to add a done to that. Okay. Because someone asked for tips on giving cunnilingus to women, and that turned into a whole weird conversation I don't want to have again. So, yeah, figure it out. Trial and error, whatever. And with that said, we're going to
use protection because human papillovirus causes throat cancer.
And you don't want that. There's
sexy advice right there, huh?
There you go. Yeah. Well, it's you know what? All advice is good advice. So
there you go.
We are going to move on to the next story. I hope to see you guys on what is it? On Rumble. That's on Rumble. We are HB Radio. Look it up. Go to Rumble right now. I'll see you guys there in a bit. And yeah, we'll continue this on the Rumble channel. So goodbye, YouTube. We're out. All right.